Hey, welcome back to the channel. So for today's comic, we have Heroes for Hire issue number 1. But before we begin, let's roll that intro and we'll get right into it. Okay, so a little bit about this comic. This is the first appearance for Luke Cage, and it's also a first appearance for Diamondback. The comic goes for about $29,000 for fair market value for the highest grade, and there's about 519 of these floating around. That's 9.0 and higher. This is a John Romita Sr. cover. It's also a George Tuska as the penciler and Archie Goodwin as the writer. There's a lot of good history behind this comic as well. VeVe 3 already came out with a video, so I'm not going to repeat myself. I'll just have the link in the description. Feel free to check it out because it is good information, and I do think it is important. So where I placed this comic, I placed it in the A tier because that's where I feel like Luke Cage is at. So Luke Cage, in my opinion, I think we can put Luke Cage somewhere around a top 50 character depending on how much you like the character. And the reason why I say that is because everybody has their own opinions on who's their favorite character, and there's a lot of Marvel superheroes, so even being a top 50 is a big deal in my opinion. So I would put him somewhere around there, and because this comic does have a lot of rich history, I believe A tier is a suitable fit for it. And the reason why it's not a double A is because if you look at the double A's, what you're comparing Luke Cage to, I believe he does not fit there. Alright, same goes for right below it, like the double B's. I think Luke Cage is better than all the characters down there, so that's the reason why I have it in the A tier. So also note that this is the 50th anniversary for Luke Cage. They were supposed to have a new comic series coming out, but they end up canceling it, so I'm not sure if they're going to try to reboot it again, but it was canceled like in last year of 2021. I haven't heard anything else if they're trying to recreate it or not, but I would imagine they're going to do something for it since it is Luke Cage's 50th anniversary. They should do something cool. So I would also assume, though, that they came out with this comic not only because of Black History Month. I also think they came out with it because it is getting close to his 50 years. So it is a cool thing to see. One last thing about the comic. Mike McConnell is the VeVe exclusive artist for the rare and the ultra rare. If you don't know anything about him, he is a really popular artist. He's done a lot. He's already done one of the VeVe exclusive covers before. He also has one of his physical covers that are on here, the Thanos 13, the headshot, the legacy headshot. So he is a really popular artist, and he did a really good job illustrating this one. I actually like the way Luke Cage looks, and I'm definitely going to try to get my hands on one. Okay, so there's two comics that I decided to increase as far as the placement goes on the tier list. The first one is Xmen 129. The reason why I did this is because I believe Disney is really going to capitalize on Kitty Pryde. Kitty Pryde's already been a pretty popular character, and they seem to be using her, quite a bit. She's had some really big roles. So I feel like once X-Men is truly introduced into the MCU, that we're going to see a lot more of Kitty Pryde, and it just has me a lot more bullish for the comic. So I was like, you know what, I need to probably place this up higher. I misjudged it at first because, just kind of thinking the old ways where Kitty Pryde was popular, but I really wasn't truly thinking what Disney's probably going to do with her, and I just have this strong feeling that they're really going to make her popular. So Kitty Pryde decided to, it's one of the reasons why I boosted the comic. And then Emma Frost as well. Emma Frost is a pretty big character. I can see her being used quite a bit as well. So you got two strong characters, both female leads that, Disney, I would assume, is going to capitalize on this. Okay, so last on the list is Amazing Spider-Man 252. So I decided to boost this one up because the demand for it is very high. The comic is probably going to be an important comic because of the MCU. I do believe there is going to be a black suit Spider-Man. I talked about this before on one of my previous videos when this comic had dropped. Now, what I should have done, though, in the first place was give it a Fire Emblem right away, because by now I think we've all noticed that anything Spider-Man is probably going to get the fire emblem, just because people seem to love Spider-Man so much. I mean, I would say it's pretty much a fact that the majority of the world that likes Marvel likes Spider-Man. All right. I mean, there's so many polls out there that Spider-Man is definitely top number one out there for those type of polls. And then two, if you look at like merchandise being sold, it's Spider-Man. So I should have gave this emblem a long time ago. I didn't. And it's one of those reasons I would say is because it's just very easy to forget to update certain comics on here on this tier list, because I'm getting to a point where there's a lot of them. Usually I'm focusing on whatever new comic came out, so the other comics kind of get ignored until I decided to reevaluate everything. And since I've been doing that lately, reevaluating some of these comics, I decided to throw it up here. All right, I believe that's all I have for the comic tier list. As always, thank you for watching.